Hey everyone, in the previous video session, we learned how to map an empty array into a JSON message. In this video session, we'll try to understand how to map an empty string into a JSON field. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we'll use the same scenario that we used in the previous session. Okay, so this is that scenario. Let's see this particular module, create JSON module here. Let's double click here and look, you can see here that the name field is not being mapped. Okay, SourceID field is not being mapped here. Okay, so let's see the output if you don't map it. Okay, let's try to run it, run anyways. Okay, and let's see the output here. You can see that the output is here. Let's just pretty print it here. So if you right click format document, if you see this, name is coming as null, source ID is coming as null, and this is not what we want. Okay, if you send it as null, the API might fail, the API might throw an error. It should be like this. Okay, should be like this. Okay, basically double quotes. Okay, should not be null, but it should be double quotes. Okay, without any value in that. Okay, how do we achieve that? Very simple. You just need to map an empty string. Okay, so let's map an empty string here. So let's say t, and let's map an empty string here. Okay, and let's map an empty string here as well. Okay, and let's try to run it. Okay, let's try to run it now. Run anyways, and let's see the output now. Okay, so here's the output. Let's just pretty print it here. Okay, so that you can read it properly. Here you go, the output is coming as double quotes, SourceID is coming as double quotes here. Perfect, right? So this is what we need. Okay, now you can add another logic here. Let's try to add another logic. Let's try to add the SourceID in the input, right? Var SourceID. Let's map something here. Let's add something here. SourceID test source ID. Okay, so if this so we are bringing in the source ID here in the input message. Okay, now let's add a logic here. Let's say um, let's remove this. If empty. Okay, so let's say var source ID. If the source ID is empty, then let's map the empty string here. Okay, otherwise map the source ID itself. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, so if the source ID is present, then we'll map the source ID. If it is not present, then we'll map empty string. That's what it means here. So let's try to run this scenario here. Run anyways. Okay, so if you see that here, the source ID is coming as test source ID here. Okay, so that means the source ID is present and then it's being mapped properly. Okay, now let's try to remove source ID here. So if the source ID is not present, then an empty string will be mapped. Okay, so that's what it means. So let's try to run it. Let's see the output. So an empty string should be mapped. The source ID is empty now. We have an empty string here. So yeah, that's how you do an empty string mapping in a JSON field. This will be super useful when you are sending messages to APIs. Okay, and the API is kind of expecting an empty string there and not a null value. Okay, I hope this was useful. Have a great day.